In the dead of night, when the waves roar louder than cannons and the horizon burns with the reflection of fire, a terrifying sight emerges. Black sails slicing through the darkness, skull and crossbones, banners fluttering in the wind, and ruthless men armed with cutlasses ready to kill for treasure. This was not just robbery, it was war. A war waged on salt water, where blood, gold, and glory drove men to madness, where empires trembled not from armies but from a handful of pirates who dared to defy the world. The age of piracy was more than adventure stories or Hollywood fantasies. It was a brutal era of violence, greed, and freedom that erupted during the 17th and 18th centuries. The seas became battlefields, ships turned into fortresses, and oceans into kingdoms. Pirates were not just thieves, they were warriors, rebels, and sometimes even symbols of resistance against powerful empires. They fought for survival, for wealth beyond imagination, and for a legacy that would make their names immortal. Imagine sailing in the Caribbean in the year 1715. Spanish galleons filled with gold and silver from the New World made their way across the Atlantic, guarded by fleets but always hunted by men who lived outside the law. A pirate ship lurked in the shadows, smaller but faster, its crew starved for treasure. As soon as the Spanish fleet was spotted, the drums beat, sails rose, and the chase began. Cannons blasted, smoke engulfed the decks, and men screamed as iron tore through flesh and wood. The sea turned red as the victors seized the treasure. This was the reality of the war of pirates, bloody, merciless, and unforgettable. But what made these men risk everything? At its heart, piracy was fueled by gold. Spanish America was overflowing with riches. Silver from Peru, emeralds from Colombia, and gold from Mexico. Every ship that carried this wealth across the ocean was a floating fortune. For empires like Spain, it was lifeblood. For pirates, it was opportunity. The lure of treasure was irresistible. Some pirates became rich beyond imagination, building hidden kingdoms on remote islands, buying loyalty with stolen gold, and ruling seas as though they were kings. Yet blood was always the price. Pirate wars were not simply attacks on ships, they were open confrontations with naval powers. Pirates fought Britain, Spain, France, and even each other. The war of pirates was an endless struggle of survival, where loyalty was rare, betrayal was common, and death was always close. Captains ruled with iron fists, and discipline was harsher than any military. A man who betrayed his crew could be marooned on a desert island with nothing but a pistol and one shot to live or die by his own hand. Some names rose above the rest, legends written in both fear and admiration. Edward Teach, better known as Blackbeard, was a demon of the seas. With his wild black beard tied in knots and slow-burning fuses tucked under his hat, he appeared like a monster cloaked in smoke and fire. His ship, Queen Anne's Revenge, struck terror into anyone who saw it. Blackbeard fought not only for gold but for power, creating blockades and forcing entire towns to surrender to him. Then there was Bartholomew Roberts, feared as Black Bart, who captured over 400 ships in his career. His brilliance in naval strategy turned him into one of the most successful pirates in history. His code of conduct kept his crew loyal, and his daring raids spread fear across the Atlantic. But pirate wars were not only fought by men. Anne Bonny and Mary Read, two women disguised as men, carved their own path in this bloody world. They fought with the same ferocity as their male counterparts, proving that the war of pirates respected only strength, not gender. Their story added an even darker twist to the already bloody legend of the seas. The battles were not always about brute force. Pirates relied on cunning, speed, and fear. They knew the seas better than most navies, navigating shallow waters where larger warships could not follow. Surprise was their greatest weapon. A pirate ship could appear out of nowhere, strike with thunder, and vanish into the horizon before reinforcements arrived. And when captured, pirates used terror as a tool. They tortured enemies, spread myths of supernatural powers, and used the skull flag not just as a symbol, but as psychological warfare. When a ship saw the black flag rise, most surrendered without a fight, knowing resistance would mean slaughter. Still, glory was as important as gold. For many pirates it was not just about treasure but about becoming legends. The war of pirates was a stage for immortality. Every battle, every raid, every tale of daring defiance was told and retold, shaping the myth of pirates as warriors of freedom. They rejected kings, rejected laws, and lived by their own codes. To some, they were villains. To others, they were heroes fighting against empires that bled the world dry. Yet the golden age of piracy could not last forever. Empires struck back. Britain and Spain launched massive campaigns to hunt down pirates. Entire fleets were dedicated to wiping them out. Naval bases were established across the Caribbean and Atlantic. Pirates who were captured faced brutal ends, public hangings, executions, and bodies left on display as warnings. The noose became the final chapter for most. Still, even in death, pirates achieved the glory they craved. Their names echoed across generations, their flags remained symbols of rebellion, and their wars became legends. Today, the war of pirates still fascinates us, not because of the bloodshed alone, but because of what it represented: defiance, courage, and the human hunger for freedom and power. Close your eyes and hear the ocean waves crashing against wooden hulls, the thunder of cannons ripping through the night, the clash of swords on blood-soaked decks. Picture men with burning eyes chasing treasure across endless seas, risking everything for gold and glory. This was the War of Pirates, a war that shaped history and left behind legends that refused to die. And as we remember their battles, their betrayals, and their thirst for wealth, one truth remains clear. The pirates may be gone, but their war still rages on in the stories we tell. Blood, gold, and glory, that is the eternal legacy of the War of Pirates. Thank you for watching, and if you want to explore more untold stories of history, power, and mystery, don't forget to subscribe. This is my